Hello, people. Thank you for visiting my channel and the Magic Timeline. Firstly, just a little introduction about myself and the Magic Timeline. My name is Alan Nichols. I was born in England, in London, so I'm British. When I was young, my family moved to Australia, to a city called Adelaide. If you don't know Adelaide, it's here at the bottom of Australia on the south coast. In 2002, I moved to Tokyo in Japan, and I've been teaching English here ever since. I've worked at companies such as Berlitz, Yomiuri Bunker Centers, private students. I've been an assistant language teacher at Tokyo Metropolitan High Schools, and I'm an instructor at Hosei University. So that's me. Now, the Magic Timeline. I created the Magic Timeline about 15 years ago. So what is the Magic Timeline? Well, the Magic Timeline is a picture, and it's a picture of all of the basic structures of English grammar and how the structures are connected. I believe people understand pictures. People can remember pictures. Pictures speak 1,000 words. The Magic Timeline is also a story, and there are 3 main chapters in the story. The first chapter is the true beginner. This gives us the building blocks that we can use to start communication using English language. The second chapter is the beginner's lesson. In the beginner's course, we start connecting ideas together so that we can connect idea number 1 and idea number 2 and join them together. The third chapter I'll call an intermediate, and we can become more accurate with the time that an action happens. I said there were 3 chapters, but there are also some options that we can explore, and these are some of the advanced or more complex sentences. The Magic Timeline is a way to review all of the ideas that you were probably shown at high school. Possibly you never really understood them. The Magic Timeline is not. It's not intended as a teaching platform, okay? The idea is to help you review and then do some practice using different grammar structures. Okay, so that's everything that the Magic Timeline is and what it is not. Good. We can get started on the true beginner chapter of the Magic Timeline. Okay, people, the first thing that we need to understand when we are studying English is the idea of time. Time is very important. So we could make a picture on a whiteboard or a piece of paper to show the different time that we can use with our communication. So Unit 1 is the idea of time. And time is very important with English. Time can be present, past, or future. We can make time words. Time words like today, yesterday, and tomorrow. We can also make time expressions. For example, this week, this month, this year, last week, last month, last year. And finally, next week, next month, or next year. Okay? So time is just the important idea, and the present time is now. The next idea that we need to think about is the action of be. Be is a verb, and the verb communicates the action of be. To be or not to be. The action of be. Be is a verb. Verbs communicate action. Auxiliary verbs communicate the time of an action. Now, the name is not important. Auxiliary means helping or support, or it means many ways to use. In English, we don't usually use the action of be. We use the action of is, am, and are. We also need to understand about other kind of words. So the next one is the noun. Nouns communicate about objects. For example, train, book, table. These are objects. Another idea that we need to understand is the idea of adjectives. Adjectives tell us more about nouns. For example, big, fast, and hot are adjectives. In the magic timeline, I use color and color to help you see the different kind of words. The next idea that we need to understand is the idea of pronouns. Pronouns help us to communicate what or who did the action. So, pronouns communicate who or what we want to communicate about. They are the subject of a statement. Pronouns are used in every language. So here at the bottom of the page, we'll start building a table of pronouns. The first kind of pronoun is the subject pronoun. I, you, we, they. He or it. He, she, and Alan. Now, the pronoun it has got 5 different forms. It, this, that, these, those. Okay. Now, I am, you are, we are, they are. These are, those are. This is, that is. It is. He is, she is, Alan is. Now, understand, Alan is not a pronoun. It is a proper noun. We can use a proper noun as the subject of a statement. For example, Japan, Mr. Trump, the weather. Now, the next idea that we need to think about is making the statement using the action of be. On the whiteboard now, we have all of the information that we need to make our first statement. And we can make our statements in the past, the present, and the future. So, the auxiliary verb helps us to communicate time. In the present time, we use is, am, are, and we use it connected with the pronoun. So, to make a simple statement in present time, we can say, it is Monday today. We can change time by changing the auxiliary verb. It was Sunday yesterday, and it will be Sunday tomorrow. Now, I call this a structure, and I think this is structure number 1. Now, in your structure, you could use a noun or you could use an adjective. So, it is Monday today. Monday is the noun. But we can change it to a noun or an adjective in past, present, or future time. It is sunny today. It was rainy yesterday. It will be windy tomorrow. Okay, so we can change the time and we can change the adjective from the noun to the adjective. So we could write this as a formula. This is what happens usually at your high school, that your teacher will tell you it's a subject, verb, condition, SVC or SVO. But I don't like to write like that. I prefer to use color. And we could write it like that. We've got our subject, which is over here, the auxiliary verb, which is here. We've got a noun or an adjective, and then we could use a time word. So we could write it as a formula like that. So the formula would look like this at the bottom of the page. Blue, black, red or blue, and black. Now, the next thing that we need to know is about using the negative auxiliary verbs. The auxiliary verb can be a positive form or it can be in the negative form. For example, the auxiliary verb makes a positive statement, e.g., it is sunny today. Also, the auxiliary verb makes a negative statement, e.g., it is not rainy today. We can change this in past, present, or future time. So we can write, it was not rainy yesterday. It will not be rainy tomorrow. And we could use the same formula here with the auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb becomes a negative auxiliary verb. Okay, so that's the basic idea of using the auxiliary verb. Now, a lot of students have trouble using the prepositions. Prepositions help to communicate where or when an action happened. We use the prepositions, the statement structure changes to make structure 2. So the first structure was structure number 1, this is structure number 2. Now it's important when we're using the action of be that there are 3 different structures for the action of be. This one is number 2. So we can make our statement. We can make a positive or a negative statement. Now, what we've used the word from. From is a preposition. I am not from America. I am from Adelaide. So we simply put a noun in here. We can put our subject in here. And that is structure number 2. Now, the next idea, which is also confusing for some customers, the possessive pronouns. Here at the bottom of the page, we've got the subject pronoun. And this is structure number 3, which uses the possessive pronoun. Now the possessive pronoun is my, your, our, their, his, her, its, Alan's. Okay? And the possessive pronoun is followed by a noun and an auxiliary verb. So, my name is, your bicycle is, our dog is. Okay, there's always a noun here and an auxiliary verb, and the auxiliary verb can be positive or negative. And this is structure number 3. Now, be very careful. In a lot of English language teaching, it's not very clear for the student about the difference in these structures, and it becomes quite confusing. So try to remember that there are 3 different structures. Okay, so let's do a very fast summary of some important ideas. Time is important. The auxiliary verb is past, present, or future. Okay. Structure 2. A preposition that changes the structure and communicates when or where. I am not from America. I am from Australia. We can also use the possessive pronoun with a noun in the negative or the positive form, and that is structure number 3. Okay, that's some of the basic ideas that we need to understand to make our very basic structures. Okay, that's the first part of the true beginners. We've learned about using the verb of be, the auxiliary verbs to change time, time words, time expressions. We also learned about nouns, adjectives, and pronouns. So now you can make a statement, but statements are only a small part of our communication. We have another very important skill, which is the skill of asking questions. So let's look at that. So when we're communicating, we can make our statement, which is useful just to communicate one idea. But the other skill that we need is making questions. There are 3 kinds of questions. The first one is the closed question. Then there are open questions, and then there are choose questions. So let's check. What is a closed question? The question. Now, to make the question, we change the position of the auxiliary verb and the subject. It can be an adjective or it can be a noun in here, and time. So we can make the statement, it is sunny. We can then change the statement and make the question if we change position of the auxiliary verb and the subject. So the question becomes, is it sunny today? Now, after we make a question, we need to answer the question. So the answer, we could just use the yes, it is sunny today. Or we could make a negative, which would say, no, it is not sunny today. So when we make a closed question, the answer is always yes and no. But I like students to make the long answer. Yes, no, yes, yes. It doesn't help you to speak English. If you make the long answer, you have more practice of actually speaking. Yes, it is sunny today. No, it is not sunny today. Now, the next style of question is an open question. When we make an open question, we need to use words that are called interrogatives. Now, I don't like that word interrogatives. It's too difficult for people, so I just call it a key. It's a key. And I'll put the keys up here in the top left corner. What, when, where, who, why, which, what kind of. Probably at school, your teacher told you there are 5 W and 1 H. Well, I don't agree. I think there are 7 W. And we need to practice using them. The other one is H, how much, how many, how long, how often, how about. So when we use how, followed by an adjective, and these will make the questions. Okay, how much, how many, how long, how often, how about, and then we have what I'll call an open adjective. How old, how big, how fast, how strong. There's many, many different combinations, but I think there are basically 7. Okay, I think there are 7 H keys. Many textbooks only teach 1 H key. So it's just a different way of thinking about things. So we use the key plus the auxiliary verb followed by the subject and the time. Now, the answer to an open question is a statement. How old are you? I am 60 years old. Where do you live? I live in Tokyo. So the answer is a statement. Yeah. Now there's one more kind of question, which is an or question. A or B, beer or wine, red wine or white wine. These are the or questions. They're a very good way to check that you can use the basic structure. They help you by speaking in a different way. So to make the or question, or a choose question, we use the auxiliary verb, the subject, noun or an adjective, or so are you Japanese or Chinese? We might need time. Is it Monday or Tuesday today? The answer to the choose question is a statement, the basic statement. So using this statement, question, answer is a very good way for you to practice speaking English. Maybe try and find a friend who also needs to speak English and practice making basic questions using the basic statements. Okay, so here's a review of the true beginners. So congratulations, you've passed the true beginners level. You can now make a statement using the verb of be. You can make the statement in past, present, or future time. You can make positive and negative statements using the auxiliary verbs. And you can make 3 questions, closed, open, and choose, for each statement. Well done. Congratulations. Okay, so that's the very basic skills that we need for very simple communication using English. You can communicate one idea, and you can make 3 questions, and you can communicate past time, present time, or future time using the action of be. Okay, so the next section is the beginners chapter, and in the beginners chapter we start to use the action of do.